Tomorrow, Kentucky legislators will be returning to Frankfort for a special session on something most to everybody seems to agree on, the flood relief for eastern Kentucky. After weeks of discussion and touring the damage himself, Governor Andy Beshear signed the call for the session this afternoon.
To the people of eastern Kentucky, we are with you now. We'll be with you tomorrow, next week, next month, and next year, as long as it takes to rebuild.
WHAS 1119's Ford Sanders, who spent the day in Clay County yesterday, tonight talked with legislators and people who live in eastern Kentucky. And Ford, what are their top priorities?
Yeah, Doug, well, one of the biggest things that I hear from people in eastern Kentucky is how thankful they are for all of the donations, but also that monetary donations are just as important right now to help them rebuild. Well, now legislators and Governor Beshear are hearing their pleas and are planning to help fill those gaps. Houses just like these now gone. It's a scene Meredith Scalise with Apple Shop in Whitesburg, Kentucky says is sadly common across eastern Kentucky as people try and rebuild.
We're going to need a lot of sustained help in eastern Kentucky, especially considering like the infrastructure issues that we already were having.
Now Governor Beshear is calling a special session that will start tomorrow to address these needs, something Republican Representative Jason Nemes of Middletown and Louisville says is necessary.
When you talk to eastern Kentucky local officials, the county judges and their mayors, what they tell you is they just need money quick. They need money for cleanup and for removal of some things.
When it comes to FEMA assistance, many feel it hasn't been enough.
They've done very well in western Kentucky and in other areas. We think they've fallen a little short here.
The FEMA aid is not enough, and some of the other emergency aid is not enough. So I'm thinking about housing for folks, right? Because some of these houses are not even like in a position to be rebuilt.
Regarding getting the bill passed, Democratic Representative Joni Jenkins of District 44 says she expects everyone to work together across the aisle, saying after reviewing some drafts, she thinks somewhere around $275 million could be expected to head to eastern Kentucky.
We have been pushing drafts of the bill back and forth for a couple weeks now, and I think everybody wants to make sure we do what's right for eastern Kentucky.
For Scalise, she notes Apple Shop contributes over $1 million annually back into the local economy, so she'd like to see legislators making sure people along with their businesses get back on their feet.
I think that eastern Kentucky oftentimes feels very forgotten, particularly in Frankfort, particularly in DC. And so I would encourage everyone who is not from the area to really think about that critically.
And that $275 million mentioned is just from preliminary drafting. Now the relief could be more as the session moves. That session will start tomorrow at 3 p.m. WHAS 11 News will be there and conversations should wrap by Friday. In the studio, Ford Sanders for the WHAS 1119 on your side.